name is Enrique Gonzalez, and I'm from El Centro de la Raza, Latino agency serving the Seattle and King County area, including a large homeless assistance program as well as a hot meal program. And we, along with other groups like the Lutheran Public Policy Office, the Church Council of Greater Seattle, the Poverty Action Network, and the Minority Executive Directors Coalition, as well as Real Change, oppose this ordinance. In particular, El Centro is in opposition of the aggressive solicitation ordinance being heard because it's the wrong solution. As a great writer, Cornel West, once said, "We must confront the most powerful, not scapegoat the most vulnerable." Additionally, El Centro is concerned with the impact that the ordinance will have on people of color. And you may be well aware that San Francisco, through a similar ordinance, of the 12,000 infractions given, most of them were given to people of color, and then 80% of those were dismissed. Please don't impose a law that will have additional negative ramifications on people of color. Seattle already has laws prohibiting against behavior in Seattle and should rethink this vote and not continue to pass laws that would somehow scapegoat the most vulnerable. Thank you.
Councilmember Burgess and members of the committee, I'm Brian Scott. I'm a downtown resident and business owner. I want to just remind the committee this is not about poor people or about homelessness or about real change vendors. It's about civil behavior in public places. I find myself a frequent recipient of polite requests to purchase real change or give some money, and an infrequent target of aggressive and threatening approaches on the street, both by people seeking money and people seeking my signature. This is not about poor people or homelessness, but about the selfish hoodlums who prey on those that are down on their luck and the rest of us alike. Thank you.
I'm Ruth Yarrow, a resident of Columbia City. I don't feel afraid of downtown. I do feel afraid for the heart of Seattle, that we're going to become a heartless city. Please vote against this ordinance.
Thank you.
I'm Judy Gibbs. I'm a Democratic PCO 361701, and I am speaking against the anti-panhandling measure. Anybody who has $50 for a ticket won't be panhandling. And anyone who receives a ticket is probably going to have to panhandle aggressively to get the $50 to pay the ticket. The time, effort, and money that have been spent on this measure could have been far better used looking for resources for those at the bottom for whom life is becoming increasingly more desperate. The folks who will vote on this measure have a city council salary that guarantees the ability to pay for a roof and groceries, courtesy of the people of Seattle. It would be nice if they could acknowledge this benefit by being gentle on the people at the bottom and voting no on the panhandling measure.
Thank you, Judy.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak briefly. I'll be submitting a letter with more comments later on this week. I'm here on behalf of the steering committee and members of the Seattle-King County Coalition on Homelessness, of which I am the executive director. We are opposed to this ordinance. Our very mission suggests why. Our mission is to work collaboratively to ensure safety and survival for people who are homeless and to end the crisis of homelessness in our region. People who are homeless are on the streets far more than most of us in this room are. And they are vulnerable to real threats, real violence, real intimidation on a daily and nightly basis. We feel that this proposed ordinance would not, in fact, do anything to protect them and would, in fact, point the finger at people who are homeless and poor, despite the fact that that is not the intention of the person who has proposed it. We're always concerned when people who are poor and homeless are targeted by laws that should protect them. We think this proposal does not address real street crime, and we urge you to put your attention towards the other elements of the proposal that would, in fact, if funded, provide real response to the real violence on our streets that threatens all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alice.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of Seattle's visitor industry. Like everyone else today, we want a better downtown experience for Seattle residents and visitors. We also want to support intelligent efforts to help the homeless. We believe that one excellent way to add needed social services to improve the quality of life in Seattle and health for people that are homeless is to support them through taxes from non-resident visitors. Seattle's ability to attract tourism is severely compromised by an increasing reputation for aggressive panhandling and street disorder, especially in our downtown. Tourism is Seattle's third largest industry. We produced 9.3 million overnight visitors who spent $5.1 billion in our community and generated $471 million in taxes. Taxes that go away if our visitors go away. We also create 63,000 jobs in the visitor. We have worked hard to establish Seattle as one of the country's premier travel destinations. We need to work equally hard to protect and enhance the reputation so that we can attract more visitors, collect needed taxes from them, and use those taxes to invest in making lives better for every Seattle resident. Thank you.
Everyone wants to talk. Including me. My name is Matt Fox. I'm here to oppose this ordinance because it's not going to work. You can't legislate making people feel comfortable. When I walk down the Ave and I'm subjected to the persuasive efforts of the Save the Children solicitors, it makes me feel uncomfortable, and I don't think you ought to legislate against that. Most offensive to me, I guess, about this is that this proposed ordinance would conflate someone politely exercising a free speech right and asking for spare change at an ATM or one of our many parking stations, most of which are now cashless anyway, with those who use threatening or aggressive physical gestures, which is already prohibited under current law. This so-called civil infraction circumvents the due process rights that the existing misdemeanor aggressive panhandling ordinance has, and it will inevitably criminalize the vast majority of those ticketed, who can't afford a cup of coffee, let alone a $50 fine, who have no address where they can receive court notices and will wind up with warrants and going to jail for asking someone politely for change at an ATM machine. I think it's also extremely troubling that someone who simply asks for change can eventually, under this ordinance, evidently be forced into treatment because they have run afoul of it. I guess I'll close briefly. As Anatole France said, the law in its infinite majesty forbids rich and poor alike from sleeping under bridges or stealing bread, or in this case, asking me politely for change at an ATM machine or parking meter. Please reject this ordinance. It's overbroad. We have existing laws against behavior.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
And I'm Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Seattle's Convention and Visitors Bureau. I'm responsible for marketing this beautiful destination across all market segments to our visitors. Our reputation as a desirable destination has really been tarnished in recent years, particularly by recent events that was covered by the national and international news. Even more chilling, anecdotal reports of aggressive solicitation, unsafe streets, and lack of civility are instantly flashed around the world via information exchanges like TripAdvisor. Unfortunately, once a city is branded as unsafe, the stigma is extremely difficult to shake. Thank you very much for supporting reasonable and compelling solutions to the issues we're facing on the streets of downtown Seattle today. In my remaining time, I have one quick anecdote from a meeting that was recently in Seattle with an economic impact of over $17 million. The planner said, being from New York, I feel as though I'm a lot less sheltered than other people, but I have to say that I was quite disturbed by the many things that I saw throughout the city of Seattle. I felt unsafe walking around the city at night. Thank you.
What you need to do is crack this nut now. Stop defaming us as you discriminate against us. Tim Burgess, you need to be recalled now. As we know, you're an ex-police officer. You're only picking up where Mayor Greg Nichols left off at. Greg Nichols did not like the homeless. He wasn't very supportive of us. You don't want us in the jungle. You don't want us in the streets. You don't want us in Tent City. You don't want us in Nicholsville. Now you don't want us in Pioneer Square. What in the hell is wrong with you? I am a citizen. I am a law-abiding citizen. I was born and bred in America. I intend to stay here. Nothing you can say or do is going to run me out of this city. You may as well step back at Tim and go back to where you come from. Crawl back under the rock where you belong. You go live in the jungle and then you see what homeless people have to go through. You will not squelch my speech. My voice is all I have left. Many, many times I feel that way. I will not allow nobody, no one, anywhere to ever squelch my voice. I stand for real change. We are disciplined. We are trained. We do have regular meetings. We have a supportive staff. I cannot say enough about these people that allow us to have an extra dollar in our pocket. And Tim, you should be ashamed.